Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I will call to order the Blythewood Town Council meeting. Today is Monday, March 28, 2022. The time is now 6 p.m. Ms. Cowan, please call the roll.
Mayor Franklin.
I'm here.
Councilman Bowman.
Present.
Councilman Brock.
Here.
Councilman Griffin.
Present.
Councilmember Questions.
Present.
Thank you, ma'am. And Ms. Cowan, was notification and posting of tonight's agenda completed in accordance with state law?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Gentlemen, before you is tonight's agenda. I'll be looking for a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded to approve tonight's agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The agenda is approved. Thank you. Please let us all join Councilman Ballman in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation this evening.
Father, my God, I just come to you this evening, Father, giving you thanks for who you are. Father, I do thank you for the many, many blessings you bestow upon us. Father, I just call on your presence here with us tonight as we do such a good thing. Father, may all we say and do just bring honor and glory to you. Father, I ask your protecting hand upon all those on the front lines today, our first responders, our military men and women. Father, I especially pray for those in Ukraine and those in Russia. Father, those in Russia that have nothing to do with this, for innocent victims just like those in Ukraine. I pray for both countries, Father. Ask that your hand and your will be done. Father, I ask all this in the humble name of your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll begin with the council members' remarks. We'll over my left and your right. Councilmember Questions.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. Got a good crowd in the audience, and for those joining us by YouTube. I've got a lengthy agenda tonight, as I'm sure most of you have seen, so I'll keep my remarks brief. I did want to thank the Blythewood Chamber of Commerce for putting on the rib fest. There were some great ribs and a lot of rain. But it was a good effort. A lot of work went into the event. Couldn't control the weather, so the crowds, the music, the ribs, it was all came off without a hitch, but if it just weren't so wet on the ground. And I see Ms. Coggins here. I wanted to congratulate you on the new position you hold with the town, so congratulations. Look forward to getting together and working. So, and with that, I'll pass it to Mr. Griffin.
Thank you. Councilman Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening to everyone out here. We do have an unusual crowd this evening, as we do, too, have an unusual three-page agenda. So I'm not going to hold up. We all are doing great things on this council for the town, but I do want to make one special announcement. Today is my wife's birthday, so I have to make sure that I give her her well-wished birthday. So to my lovely wife, happy birthday. Wish you many, many more. God bless you and continue to bless you every single day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Ballman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief also. Just welcome everybody. Thank y'all for coming out tonight. I'll echo every other councilman's sentiments here, and Mike Ross is in the background. I hate Phil Fry's recovering, or I hope he's recovering nice from his surgery. But y'all did a wonderful job under less than ideal circumstances. So thank you very much for what you do for the chamber and what you do for our people here in town of Blythewood.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Brock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yesterday, Village Church celebrated their 20th anniversary and had a fantastic celebration and stroll down memory lane at 6 o'clock. An honor to go, joined by Councilman Griffin, Congressman Wilson, Ms. Ball was there, and Village Church does such a wonderful job connecting to the community, whether they're working with middle or high schoolers, with the needy in this community, putting on events such as the Extravaganza, which is here in the park on April 16th. They do Lake Carolina. They've had a revival here. It was a really good time for the community to come together to honor Eric and Emily and his family and all the work they've done. Secondly, I would like to wish a
Congratulations to Ms. Coggins. Welcome, and now you're part of the team. So we're excited to have you. And finally, congratulations to Ms. Barbara Ball. She won the J. Bender Award for reporting. This is her third award. She won it in 18, 19, and this past year, and it's well-deserved. And I know I don't have to say this, Barbara, but keep up the good work, because I know you will. Thank you. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, sir. For the mayor's remarks, I will run down a list of current events. I apologize this is lengthy, but it's something I committed to citizens to do, to let everyone know as best possible to schedule the events in the town. Ms. Coggins, we heard her, and thank you for accepting, ma'am. We look forward to great things. I'm sure you'll do well. On the 27th of February, we held the Black History Month celebration, and for the first year, we did 2 days, the first of which was in the Bethel-Hamberry Gymnasium, elementary gymnasium, which we're trying to set aside as a civic center in the future of Blythewood, one of the promises we made earlier to the citizens here. It was a great event, 2 days, well attended, and it was well executed. Kudos to Ms. Doris Coleman and the Blythewood Historical Society and the Bethel-Hamberry Athletic Alumni Association for sponsoring that event. The Westwood Baseball Club held their first tournament, 28 February to 4 March, very successful. Again, it's exactly what we try to resource, to bring citizens here and outside tourists to come see Blythewood, spend money in Blythewood, and learn what we're all about as a community. So well done to Westwood. The 5th of March, of course, we had Carolina Clemson baseball annual game at Segra Park. Big event for our kids who play baseball and softball to go and see that. Very competitive for the 2 large colleges in the state. 11th and 12th of March was the Rib Fest. Again, as echoed here, some of my colleagues already mentioned, bad weather, but we still had a pretty good turnout all day. The wind was tough, but people still came out, and I appreciate all the citizens who did, and especially the vendors who continue to come back and make that a great event for the town of Blythewood. On the 15th of March, we held a tree planting. Mr. Frank Namath, a citizen, reached out to Sustainability South Carolina, and we planted 10 trees here as a start. I want to continue that and do it on Arbor Day, Earth Day, which is coming up in April, get Cub Scouts involved, get youth involved, and make it a better event so that we can contribute to the longevity and the beauty of this park that we so dearly love. The 18th of March, I held a Central South Carolina Mayor's Luncheon here in Doco Manor. It was the idea, the brainchild of new Columbia Mayor Rickenman. About 3 or 4 years ago, mayors in the central part of South Carolina used to get together on a regular basis, pre-COVID. Once COVID happened, we couldn't do that anymore. But now we're moving in, hopefully, of a post-COVID kind of environment. We're going to start doing it every other month. And the purpose is to share best practices, to learn from one another as small-town mayors with the large mayor of Columbia, and also lobby for resources together. As we know, Greenville and Charleston, the larger cities in the state, in the past, that's where the resources of the state have gone, but we plan to make a breakthrough and put Columbia back on the map in the central Midlands area. So a big promise for those meetings and those luncheons in the future. 26th of March, past Saturday, the opening day for the Blythewood Youth Baseball and Softball Rec Leagues. Over 450 children are playing across there in the park. We're committed to providing more resources for that, to open our park here at Doco Meadows, get it renovated, get more athletic events. The soccer team is now here in Blythewood. We have lacrosse teams waiting to come, and now we have the Pop Warner football still looking for places to play. And we're committed to resourcing that and investing in our youth to go forward in competitive sports in the future and build character for our future generations. 27th of March, Councilman Brock alluded to. Yesterday, Village Church, their 20-year anniversary. I was pleased to see that both our U.S. Senators, Scott and Graham, had video congratulatory messages. Councilman Griffin and I enjoyed it. Councilman Brock was there, and it was a good turnout, and it's hard. I think someone at the event mentioned that 87% of all new churches fail within their first 3 years. It's not due to lack of effort or anything. It's just it doesn't merge well. People find other churches that they appreciate more. And this church has gone from, and I'll read a proclamation here in a minute for the record, started off with 5, the Estep family, and now they have over 1,000 in attendance in 3 services every single Sunday around this central South Carolina area. So congratulations to the Estep family. Coming up, the 26th through the 30th of March 26 March through 30 April is turkey season. I've talked to a lot of folks, a lot of the athletes. I think we need to get our kids out in a post-COVID kind of environment. That's a good event to go to. Get out, do some turkey hunting, see the countryside, and enjoy the fresh air. So stay tuned for some events that I'm trying to program for that. The 2nd of April, this Saturday, the Carolina Cup in Camden. Always a big event. A lot of folks from our neighborhoods go and participate. Just a reminder of that. We have the Blythewood Spring Artisans Market coming up on the 2nd. Also the 2nd of April, right? That's right. Thank you. We have the Planning Commission is going to meet on the 4th of April, the first Monday of every month, if you didn't know. So you can watch all these meetings are taped on YouTube, so you can see it if you didn't have an opportunity to attend and see what our community is planning. The 7th of April, the town has court mediation, one of our largest legal cases. We're trying to move forward with a mediation and settle as best we can, fairness in all parties involved. Those things are not necessarily negative, they're necessary in a growing litigious society, but we're trying to do the right thing and come together and find a mid-ground. 12th of April is the next chamber breakfast, Blythewood Chamber of Commerce. 8th through 16 April is our kids' spring break around here in the school systems. So if you have an opportunity, since the Blythewood baseball and softball leagues are starting up and you want to get your kids out to do something, I encourage you to go over there. Our concession stand is now fully operational. We have a new vendor that's taken over, so I encourage you to take your dog for a walk and go over there and watch some baseball and softball. The 8th of April is the Columbia Fireflies home opener. Major League Baseball begins on the 7th of April, and as you know, we're in full swing for the sporting season. 12 through 16 April, Blythewood High School has their very successful Diamond Invitational Tournament, with the 15th of April having their banquet here in Delco Manor. So about 20 teams, I don't have the exact number in front of me, from around the state come and compete in that event right here in Blythewood, and it's well spoken of and highly regarded. So I encourage you, if you're a baseball fan, come and support that event. As a matter of fact, opening day, I will be there and I will read a proclamation because our athletic director for Blythewood High School, Coach Barry Mazzell, very successful coach on his own regard, has coached that team for many years now. He's the athletic director. He won an award, the Region 4 5A Sports Director of the Year for the state of South Carolina. So I'm going to read a proclamation in his honor and start that Diamond Invitation off correct. 16 April, we have the Village Church Extravaganza here at the amphitheater. So if you have children and grandchildren, they want to participate in Easter egg hunts, I recommend bring them out here for that event. The 17th of April, Sandy Level Baptist Church will have their Easter sunrise service right here in the amphitheater too. So if you don't have a church home or you want to participate in a sunrise service, Sandy Level invites you to come do that here. The 18th of April, the Board of Architectural Review and the Board of Zoning Appeals, that's normally their meetings if they have one scheduled for you to participate in. The 21st of April is our first town budget workshop, and that's where we pull out the budget that I nominate as mayor and required to do, and the council will all deliberate on our upcoming expenditures beginning, the fiscal year begins on 1 July. So we'll have two workshops. We'll vote on the budget on May, and then the June council meeting, and it will take effect on 1 July for the new fiscal year. The 30th of April, Mayor Rickenman from Columbia has a Mayor's Pie in the Face fundraiser in Boyd Plaza. I'm not going to tell you the time because I don't want you to show up there and throw a pie at me, but and it's a fundraiser, and the mayor that raises the most money gets to divert the funds to the charity of choice. And of course, mine is the Christian Assistance Bridge here in Blythewood. The 5th of May is the second budget workshop for the council. The public always invited to attend and participate. Also on the 5th of May is the Blythewood Chamber's Par 3 Palooza at Cobblestone Golf Course. So if you like the game of golf, or you know people who do, encourage them to attend. That's a great event over there to raise funds for the chamber and their charities. We also have an employee celebration night. We do this annually for for our 28 employees here in Blythewood, and we go to the Fireflies baseball game and team build together as a group. 5th of May is also the Rotary breakfast earlier in the day, the Blythewood Rotary. 8th of May, of course, is Mother's Day. Go ahead and order your flowers now and candy. Don't forget about that. The 15th of May, the Freeway Music here in the Doco Depot building will have their Freeway Music in the park right here in the amphitheater. I encourage you to attend that. The 21st of May is the next Movies in the Park for kids and families right here in the park in the amphitheater area. And then the 23rd of May is the Town Council meeting where we'll have our first vote on the annual budget. And I made a few other notes. The Farmers Market every Wednesday will be open here at the Farmers Market field. And then I mentioned Earth Day, Arbor Day coming up. 23rd of April, we have a cystic fibrosis walk here on our nature trails in the park area. And that's pretty much all I have right now going forward. So that will conclude my remarks. Move to the Town Administrator report. Mr. Winston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With all your remarks, you kind of stole my thunder, but I'd like to formally introduce Christy Coggins as the new Manor Director. Her first day is today, and she jumped right in, bird-dogging the esteemed Steve Hasterock, who will continue until his retirement. I have on the books April 30th, but he seems to be hedging on that as we speak. But just a couple of quick things to give you an update. The Planning Commission met in March, and they discussed one of the rezoning cases that is before you tonight. And BAR and BZA did not meet in March. Also just want to mention a few calls and emails that I received recently praising staff, and I'd just like to read those to you. First, Margaret Kelly of the Blackwood Historical Society sent me an email following Black History Month event a few weeks ago to say how helpful that Jonna Sutton was throughout, constantly getting her what she needed both here and at the museum, which was above and beyond what she was expected to do. And secondly, Julie received a call from a citizen named Carol Gainey, who just wanted to tell the town hall that what a great job Lee Riley does and what a hardworking employee she is and everything she does throughout the town each day. So I just wanted y'all to know that. And as the Mayor mentioned, the first budget workshop is April 21st, and if y'all would like to meet with staff to review it, the Mayor's reviewed the first draft, and just let me know when that suits your schedule. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I just had one alibi. I almost forgot. I see Buck Coggins here. The Blythewood Rodeo, the 22nd, 23rd of April. So please come out and join that big event. It's always fun to bring your friends and family out for that event. Okay. We'll move to the approval of the minutes from the Town Council meeting on February 28, 2022. Council members, you have before you the minutes. I'll be looking for motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second. It's been probably moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the Town Council meeting on February 28, 2022. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. Thank you. The aforementioned proclamation, I wanted to read it into the record, and for those viewing at home and you all here, if you weren't able to attend the 20th year for the Village Church in Blythewood, and I'll stand. This is a mayor's proclamation to honor Eric and Emily Estep and Village Church's 20 years of service to the Blythewood community. Whereas Village Church was founded by Eric and Emily Estep on March 27, 2002, sponsored by the First Baptist Church of Columbia, and held its first services at Bethel Hanbury Elementary Gymnasium, and then Lake Carolina Elementary, and then permanently invested in the community when it broke ground on 14.5 acres of land on Reimer Pond Road in Blythewood, South Carolina, in April of 2009. And whereas for 20 years, Eric has faithfully presented the gospel and a message of hope to the Blythewood community, and Emily has faithfully served the congregants. And whereas Village Church has been committed to serving, investing, and enriching the Blythewood and Greater Northeast Columbia communities through family-oriented community events, such as their Easter extravaganza, and Lakes Carolina, weekly small groups, and men's and women's ministry, and remains committed to investing in children and students through weekly activities, vacation Bible school, camps, retreats, and leadership training. And whereas Village Church established relationships and invested in students and staff at Richland II Elementary, middle, and high schools, serving through Fellowship of Christian Athletes, serving athletic departments by supplying volunteers for Friday night football, muffins for moms, grits for grands, and donuts for dads. And whereas Village Church expanded their investment to the ends of the earth through partnering with an orphanage in Haiti following the 2010 earthquake, and partnering with missionaries from Blythewood who presently serve the Samburu people of Kenya. And whereas Village Church has established C4 to assemble the people of Village Church to engage the culture proclaiming the name of Jesus, which includes campus, community, civics, and care ministries. And whereas Village Church planted a church at Park Street in downtown Columbia in February of 2020. And whereas Village Church hosted its first revival at Doko Park in March of 2021 with 2,000 people in attendance and many coming into a relationship with Jesus Christ for the very first time. And whereas Village Church has grown from a family of 5 to over 1,000 in attendance at 3 services in 2 locations every Sunday morning. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Brian S. Franklin, Mayor of the Town of Blythewood, and the Town Council members, on behalf of our community, proudly recognize and honor Eric and Emily Estep in Village Church, and admirably recognize the vision they have shown for the past 20 years, and hereby proclaim that the 27th day of March in the year of our Lord, 2022, be known throughout the town of Blythewood as the anniversary of Village Church Day. I hereunto set my hand and cause to be affixed the official seal of the town of Blythewood on this 28th day of March, the year of our Lord, 2022. Brian S. Franklin, Mayor of Blythewood. We'll move to part 3 tonight, a public hearing for Ordinance 2022.003, an amendment to Ordinance 2021.007, the Fiscal 22 budget, Capital Improvement Fund. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So all the ordinances in the public hearing all have readings further down on the agenda. So if you have anyone signed up, maybe they can speak, and then we'll kind of formally introduce it later in the agenda.
We sure will. Mr. Don Owens. How are you, sir?
My name is Don Owens. My wife and I live at 11056 Wilson Boulevard. We have lived in our house for 37 years. The property in question for rezoning is across the street from our house. One of the things that struck me odd from the last meeting was when the petitioner was asked by one of the council members how long he had owned the property. He said he did not own the property. That was very odd to me. Is the petitioner waiting to see if he gets the zoning he wants before he buys it? This deal has cost him probably little to nothing so far because he doesn't own it. It will cost us a lot as far as home values, etc., if that business is built there. The petitioner was also asked by another member, what were the hours of operation for the storage, building / boat, and RV storage? He gave some military time that someone would be on the property, but also said there would be a keypad at the entrance. We all know what a keypad is, and we know it's going to be 24 hours open with people coming and going at all hours of the night. Not good. The petitioner also shared that there would be security cameras and lights because sometimes people do things they should not do at a storage facility, such as storing chemicals not permitted, or running a business out of a unit. These are his words. Not good. And about those lights, 7+ acres of lights on all night. That's not good when you live across the street from that. These are just a few of the things that I would like y'all to consider when voting. we are not against growth for the town, and I think that for the most part, everything has been done right in this town. This is just not the right place for that business. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. And let me finish by saying I am strongly against the new zoning for that property.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, if I could, just for the record, he just spoke on item E, but
In the public hearing, correct. So at the top of the list is the ordinance that each is signed up to speak to.
all I have here, I have 4 citizens to speak on 2022.007, which is item E, and I have Mr. Andrew Boozer to speak about senior resources. That's all I have.
Correct. So of the public hearing, doesn't sound like there's anyone signed up to speak except for item E in the public hearing section.
I understand. All right. Ms. Lomas. I'm sorry, Mr. Lomas. I see. I barely read it.
I'm Christy Lomas. My wife Carolyn and I live just a couple of blocks north of the area that's proposed to change the zoning. We'd like to reiterate our objection to that change in light of the fact that, as well as what Mr. Owens just said, future use of that land could be something that's not very conducive at all to a rural residential neighborhood, and we would like for our neighborhood to remain that way. Thank you for your careful attention.
Next is Jamie McLean.
My kids and I'm Jamie McLean. My kids and I live across the street and just up the hill from this property. I am also against the zoning change. To kind of caveat with what Mr. Lomas was talking about, once the zoning is changed, you can have apartments go in, you can have tattoo parlors go in, you can have gas stations, RV truck parking, sexually oriented businesses, multifamily homes. That's not what we need in that area. There is everything, that property is surrounded by residential with the exception of one side. The one side, which used to be Mickey D's, that was grandfathered in. That's been commercial probably the last 80 years. So that didn't fall under the town's master plan. That was already commercial. Same thing with the lights that Don was talking about. 24 hours a day is going to be lights, people coming and going. That's not what we need for that area. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Robert McLean.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm just going to reiterate the facts that everyone else mentioned here as well, too. And I think that the Planning Commission did a good job in the last meeting of hearing our thoughts and concerns and issuing what their recommendation was. So this is really just for us to add on top of that and say we agree with their assessment that when you look at this piece of property, item number E, there's a couple different things that stood out to me and I think also stood out to the Planning Commission as well. When we look at where this property is, it is the gateway of Blackwood from the north, so it's the first thing you see coming down Highway 21 towards Blythewood. In regards to the master plan, it was listed as an incompatible zoning district for the master plan, and it's also in a residential area, making it incompatible with what the residents around the property feel should be a good use of that space. I've also got serious doubts that the property can even be used for a storage facility. I think that's one of the big question marks, is what happens to that property in the event that it's not able to be used for its intended purpose. For all these reasons and others more, I believe it should be denied for the zoning change. Thank you.
Okay, perhaps someone didn't have an opportunity to sign up. Any other citizen wishing to speak on any item in the public hearing section? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, and we'll move to Part 4, discussion items. Part A, an update on the proposed roundtable discussion to assist local Blythewood businesses. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Councilmember McKenrick has an update to this.
Councilmember McKenrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to bring council up to speed. There's been no movement on this roundtable. We were working in conjunction with the chamber and some other business leaders and with RibFest and Mr. Phil Fry's surgery that was upcoming. We kind of postponed that until April, so we'll bring you back an update on that.
Comments, council members? Okay, hearing none, move to Part 5 tonight, action items. And if we have citizens who wish to speak, just signify that you'd like to speak as we bring each item up. Part A is discussion and approval of the allocation of funds for an outside agency, to wit, Senior Resources. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you may recall, council requested that outside agencies each come before council once they've submitted their nonprofit information and stated how they intend to use the funds that were discussed during the budget work sessions in 2021. During those discussions, council designated $6,500 for Senior Resources. Senior Resources has recently provided requested information, including the plans for the use of these funds. The Executive Director, Andrew Boozer, is here at the meeting and can answer any questions you may have.
Absolutely. Mr. Boozer.
Thank you, Mayor Franklin and Councilman, for having me here today. If it's okay with you, I'll make a few remarks.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight and consideration of continued support for Blythewood senior citizens. Senior Resources continues to serve seniors in and around the Blythewood area through our Meals on Wheels and other supporting programs. Post-pandemic, I hope I can say that now, we've seen about a 30% increase in services to seniors all around Richland County from our pre-pandemic needs. And we're actively out and about seeking increase in funding levels to support what we perceive to be the new normal. Blythewood and its surrounding areas already had a growing need in the last few years due to population increases, and so we've actually seen a slightly higher growth of need here in the Blythewood area. I'm grateful the council last year increased support for Blythewood seniors to $6,500, and I ask you to consider renewing that support again this year for our meal and nutrition programs like Meals on Wheels. In the last year, your support provided 832 meals to over 11 seniors in Blythewood, the largest number of meals served in Blythewood to date. 1 year of daily meal services cost our organization over $2,000 per senior. Your support was matched by federal, state, local, and private charitable dollars to serve an additional 5,000 meals to more than 25 seniors last year in the greater Blythewood area. Additionally, Senior Resources serves 40 seniors at our Killian Park Wellness Center with nearly 2,000 more meals, 24,000 miles of transportations, and over 200 exercise classes, all of those provided at no cost to these seniors. Our request for $6,500 will continue to allow us to serve at this elevated level and will continue to be matched by other sources wherever possible for maximum impact. We look forward to continuing these services in Blythewood and encourage each of you to reach out to me directly. I passed out my card prior to this meeting with ideas on how we can best meet the needs of seniors in a growing Blythewood community for many years to come. And with that, I'll take any questions if you have any.
Councilmember Questions.
Not a question, just I certainly appreciate the work y'all do. It goes kind of unseen within the community, and you certainly service a need out there. So I appreciate the work.
Thank you, Councilman.
Comments? Questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Please, Councilman Group.
if no other questions or comments, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. It's been probably moved and seconded to approve the outside agency request for Senior Resources. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, Mr. Williamson, this is in our current budget year, correct? 21-22?
That's correct. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Boozer. We appreciate what you're doing. Part B tonight, Discussion and approval of the H-Tax final report for Town of Blythewood Tournament of Bands. Mr. Williamson.
Mr. Mayor, the Tournament of Bands was granted $10,000 by council for this event, which was held on October 16th, 2021. 24 bands participated from across the state, with 75% from outside the Blackwood area. The estimate of a total of 4,000 attendees, which includes spectators, students, parents, and staff. Local hotels accommodated the travelers from outside the area. In addition to local restaurants, the event also invited local food trucks for the attendees. The town was extensively recognized throughout numerous advertisements promoting the event, and they have provided the receipts and proofs of purchase for the amount that was allocated from the town. The applicants are requesting the final 20% of the requested amount.
Anyone here to speak? Questions, council members? Please.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Jefferson. I am the current booster president and tournament co-chair for the Blythewood High School Band. I apologize, the pollen has gotten the best of me, so I did take my test today. I'm negative. However, I just wanted to thank you again for your continued support. I have had 2 children go through the program at Blythewood High School through the music program, and I'm a big supporter and huge fan of what we accomplish there through music. So without your support, we could not do what we do, and I do want to say that I appreciate you very much. I can take questions. I also have Carrie with us tonight. She is our treasurer. So thank you.
Questions, council members? I'll just add another great event. You bring so many families here to Blythewood to participate, and that's exactly what we look to resource, so we appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
There's no other comments. I'll make a motion we approve the $2,000.
Second. It's been probably moved and seconded to approve the final $2,000 for the Blythewood Tournament of Band H-Tax request. Further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you all. Part C tonight, discussion and approval of a request to waive Delco Meadows park fee for the Autism Awareness Event on April 23rd, 2022. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Brielle Jackson has requested the town council waive the rental fees for the soccer field at Delco Meadows Park for an autism awareness event. The event will be for 3 hours on April 23rd. According to Ms. Jackson, there will be a DJ, simple activities, information booths, a fire truck for 1 hour, tennis nets, relay races, and a few speakers. And the rental fee for this event to be held here at Delco Meadows Park is $150.
Comments, council members?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Councilman Griffith. Go ahead.
I brought this up in, I believe it was the Rotary, asking us to waive the fee for the farmers market field for their 5K. If we could word this, that council would do a sponsorship for the autism awareness, just so we're not, just so we don't get caught in a pinch of waiving fees. I'd rather look at the funds and see $150 sponsorship go to autism awareness.
Which in kind is what it is when you...
Yes, certainly.
Absolutely, okay.
In the future, would y'all prefer a request like that to come in that form?
I certainly do.
Mr. Williamson, what was the event to where we basically reallocated excess H-Tax funds? This one?
That was the Rotary Run.
Okay.
Where you transferred $1,500, I believe, or something over. So that's what I would, same similar thing.
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. It's been probably moved and seconded to approve the request to waive Delco Meadows Park fee for the Autism Awareness Event on 23rd of April, 2022. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The motion carries. Part D tonight, discussion and approval of a request for hospitality tax funding for the Juneteenth Gala Noir on June 17th, 2022. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just this afternoon, Ms. Tina Torres, who is the Executive Director of the South Carolina Juneteenth Freedom Fest, emailed me and asked if she could kind of rework her request and her application and bring it back to you in April. So she requested that this item could be deferred until then.
I'll be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we do the postponement until the next meeting.
Second. It's been probably moved and seconded to move the request for hospitality tax funding for the Juneteenth Gala Noir for June 17, 2022 to the April meeting of the Town Council. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Part E tonight, a first reading of Ordinance 2022.006, discussion and approval of an ordinance to amend the official zoning map and zoning district classification for tax parcel R15000-05-08 from RU Rural District to CC Community Commercial District / AO Architectural Overlay District. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the first reading of zoning map amendment 2022-01-MA. The applicants Carlos and Cheryl Bullock are requesting to rezone the property at the southern corner of the intersection of Farrow Road and Wilson Boulevard from Rural District to Community Commercial / Architectural Overlay District. The land area is approximately 4.1 acres in size. The surrounding zoning districts are to the north, community commercial, to the east, residential low density, to the south, community commercial, and to the west is rural zoning, but it's used by Dominion Energy. The associated future land use map in the 2020-2030 Blythewood Comprehensive Plan designates the property as being commercial neighborhood retail. Community commercial zoning district is listed as a compatible use in Table 10.1 of the Future Land Use Compliance Index, so it is in compliance with the comprehensive plan. And on February 28th, Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of this map amendment. The applicant or the applicant's representative is here to answer any questions.
Okay. Please.
Hi, gentlemen.
You all.
I know it was a joint meeting when we were here before, so you all heard everything that we had said before. I do want to reiterate that we believe that this is a really good opportunity for the town because that property is already in Blythewood, where surrounding areas are not. So it's a great annexation opportunity, I believe, for the town, as whatever their use ends up being from a commercial standpoint takes a hold. And also because of the way that we are funded in the town through the taxes, with it being commercial, it's a great opportunity, I believe, for the town to bring in more revenue, whether that be restaurant, which I think that's what was said that they're wanting to do. Not necessarily. It's obviously going to be what works best in that space and that complies with the zoning that we agree to, or that you all agree to. We also have with us the realtor that's going to be working with them, Mr. Darren Rhodes, in case you all had any questions of him as well.
Councilmember, questions?
I got one question. So I'm just curious, what is the ideal behind the change? Anything that's popping off, just as far as the use of the property?
So the goal, I think, would be, and if you look at where it's located, you've got access on both sides. The goal, I think, would be to go after a potential restaurant user. Clearly, you have access there, you have a high amount of traffic. That's going to feed the success of a restaurant. We would hope that we would be able to find someone who would want to put a nice high-end restaurant in Blythewood. And this provides an opportunity to do that potentially without adding to the congestion that we already have in the very center of town. So I think that's why this is a unique opportunity for that particular use. Of course, DOT will dictate ingress, egress on the property and on which road and how that all flows, but that's definitely the goal.
Thank you.
And others discussions about using it for a professional to have office space there. Really, I think we're out there putting feelers out as to where the interest is. I mean, if you ask me, I want a nice restaurant there. I've had a lot of people saying they sure do want a brewery here. I don't know if that space would work for that or not, but no. No, but it is a great space, I think, for Blythewood to bring something nice in. So I'm hoping you all agree with that as well.
I'll make a motion to approve first reading.
Second. It's been properly motioned and seconded to approve the first reading of ordinance 2022.007. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The first reading is passed. Part G tonight, a second reading of ordinance 2022.003, the discussion and approval of amendment to ordinance 2021.007, the fiscal 22 budget, capital improvement fund. Mr. Williamson.
I believe we're on the zoning.
No. You missed F.
My apologies. First reading, ordinance 2022.007, discussion and approval of an ordinance to amend the official zoning map and zoning district classification for tax parcel R15200-03-17 from D1 Development District to CC Community Commercial District / AO Architectural Overlay District. Mr. Williamson, my apologies.
This is the first reading of zoning map amendment 2022-02-MA. The applicant, Rhett Kelly, is requesting to rezone the property located at 11,000 block of Wilson Boulevard from Development District to Community Commercial / Architectural Overlay District. The land area is approximately 7.1 acres in size. Surrounding zoning districts to the north is rural, to the east is neighborhood commercial with a residential use, to the south is community commercial, and to the west is development district. The associated future land use map in the 2020-2030 Blythewood Comprehensive Plan designates the property as being rural residential. Community commercial zoning district is not listed as a compatible use in the future land use compliance index for this land use classification. However, it is adjacent to existing community commercial on the south side. Nevertheless, staff has concerns about the high intensity of the uses of the zoning district and proximity to much less intensive existing uses in zoning districts to the north, east, and west. On March 28th, Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend disapproval of this map amendment.
Councilmember comments?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Is the applicant or his representative here?
I don't believe so. They said that they told me that they did not intend to be here.
That says a lot then. With that, then, Mr. Mayor, I would recommend to disapprove.
Second. It's been properly motioned and seconded to disapprove the first reading of ordinance 2022.007. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The first reading is disapproved. Part G, the second reading of ordinance 2022.003, discussion and approval of an amendment to ordinance 2021.007, the fiscal 22 budget, capital improvement fund. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a budget amendment to reflect funds that were used to pay for the expenditures associated with improvements to the depot building property, landscape and irrigation work, and there have been no changes to this since the first reading.
Motion to approve.
Second. It's been probably motioned and seconded to approve the second reading of ordinance 2022.003. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The second reading is approved. Another second reading tonight, Part H, Ordinance 2022.004, discussion and approval of an amendment to Ordinance 2021.007, Fiscal 22 budget, general hospitality tax, Delco Manor, and ARP funds. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a budget amendment that adds funds from the American Rescue Plan Fund to make up for the shortfall here at Delco Manor due to rentals dropping off earlier in the fiscal year due to COVID, and then some other associated adjustments in the budgets. But there have been no changes since first reading.
Motion to approve.
Second. It's been properly motioned and seconded to approve the second reading of Ordinance 2022.004. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The second reading is approved. Part I tonight, second reading, Ordinance 2022.005, discussion and approval of an amendment to Ordinance 2021.007, the Fiscal 22 budget, general fund expenditures, legal. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you. This budget amendment increased account number 10-4150-199, legal outside counsel, from $60,000 to $145,000 to reflect the increased costs associated with the town's ongoing litigation. There's been no changes since first reading.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been probably motioned and seconded to approve the second reading of Ordinance 2022.005. Any further discussion? Ms. Cowan, please call the roll.
Mayor Franklin.
Aye.
Councilman Ballmer.
Aye.
Councilman Brock.
No.
Councilman Griffin.
Aye.
Councilman McHenry.
Aye.
The motion is approved. Second reading is approved. Part J tonight, discussion and approval of a request to initiate an amendment of the town zoning map for the Oakhurst neighborhood. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to make a correction to my memo. I had the total number of lots incorrect. The total number of lots is 54, not 49. Nevertheless, the intent was to give you the total number of lots of the neighborhood of what's at issue here. The Oakhurst neighborhood is a 54-lot subdivision located off of Boney Road, and it's currently all zoned R8. Majority of the residents are requesting that the zoning district for all the 54 lots be downzoned from R8 to R20. Council can direct staff to initiate this rezoning process. The lot sizes and lot widths of all the lots meet the minimum requirements for R20. In your packet is a full comparison of the two zoning districts. One of the biggest differences is that all the homes are currently single-family dwellings, but R8 allows one and two-family dwellings, while R20 only allows single-family dwellings, which is more reflective of the character that's already established in the neighborhood. Councilman Brock is the president of Oakhurst neighborhood, and he sent out a survey requesting input from the neighbors, and as of right now, I think it's received 38 have signed. Over 75% have signed in favor of this rezoning, with no one opposed to this. If approved, then what would basically the staff would be serving as the applicant to get it started on for all the properties in the neighborhood, and then it would just go through the normal rezoning process where we would put out signs on every single property, and then we would send letters for the public hearing, and it would be in the newspaper. And so every property owner, it's particularly important with this type of action that each property owner is fully aware of what's being proposed for their properties, since they are not actually serving as the applicants.
Mr. Mayor, before we get started with discussion, I would like to read a letter into the record. This letter is addressed to you. It's in regards to the March 28, 2022 Blythewood Town Council meeting. Agenda paragraph 5, action item J, discussion and approval of a request to initiate an amendment to the town zoning map for the Oakhurst neighborhood. Mr. Franklin, or Mayor Franklin, my apologies. As acting HOA president of Oakhurst of Blythewood, please accept this letter as my official recusal for the matter referenced above and for all future matters regarding the amendment of the town zoning map regarding the Oakhurst of Blythewood neighborhood. Regards, Councilman Brock.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, council member comments.
I'd like to just say I've spoken to a few residents in there. I'm fully in support of their request. We did most of the lots in Blythewood years ago. We didn't want an R5, an R8, or even an R12. We wanted R20. So they built bigger homes, so I'm in full support of this. So.
Traffic.
Mr. Mayor, is there anybody else other than Councilman Brock who's recused himself from Oakhurst present?
Please, we'd like to hear from you. You came all this way, all the way from Oakhurst. How are you?
My name's Chris Scholl. I live at 6 Oakhurst, 6 Crossroads Court. I've been, I think we're about the third house to build in there, actually. We've been there 18 years at this point. R20 really fits the neighborhood more so than R8. And we just feel like we just want to make sure it stays exactly the way it is in our neighborhood. And we do have a couple of lots that are still sitting out there. So we just want to make sure it fits like kind for what it is currently. And by the way, I've been in real estate for 21 years. So this will be the best way to protect it.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for
Please, Councilman
Mr. Schultz. I'm my HOA president as well, so this is kind of where my questions will be driven from.
Okay.
Have y'all reached out to the 5 lots that are left? Do they know this is happening?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And are they
We've sent them letters.
Are they in favor of or opposed to?
They've said neither because this goes right in favor with what the HOA already has as far as setbacks, as far as house size and everything. Mm-hmm. This just further rubber stamps it and says, it flows with what our covenants say currently.
Yeah, I'm with you, and Oakhurst has done a great job in development. The heart of my issue is if somebody owns a property that is undeveloped.
Right.
And all the developed properties decide they think their choice and style of home and setback should dictate the remaining 5. I think I would have less heartburn if you were saying yes, 3 of the 5 are in favor of this, or
they just haven't responded one way or the other. Yeah.
But Mr. Williamson, will we post those lots as well?
Absolutely.
And are they paying members of your HOA? Do those 5 lots pay dues?
No, the way our due structure is set up is you have to have a residence there before you start paying dues.
Yeah, I think my heartache with this is I wish there was more unification in Oakhurst because we could be setting our planning commission up to be the referee in a battle that they couldn't handle themselves. But I would certainly vote in favor of moving it to planning commission with the caveat that I believe we may be putting our planning commission in a pinch situation that an HOA couldn't handle themselves.
Well, I don't think they're going to. Here's the thing: if it's R20, that just follows in line with what our covenants already say. So it's going to be the same thing. The HOA would refuse allowing them to, because they have architectural review. They would not be able to. They would not get architectural review approval.
And I think we're agreeing. So if your HOA would not approve a house to go on a lot within your neighborhood, why push this? Why do this?
Why not?
Fair enough.
I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. Just, if it's already like that, let's just make everything agree.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please. Councilman.
No, okay.
If there's no other comments, I'll make the motion to approve the move this to the planning commission.
Second. All right, it's been probably motion and seconded to approve the request to initiate amendment of the town zoning map for Oakhurst neighborhood to be sent through the staff to the planning commission. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chris. Can you grab Councilman Brock for me, please? Thank you. Thank you, sir. Let the record show Councilman Brock is back with the council. Moving to Part K tonight. Excuse me. Part K, Resolution 2022.001, discussion and approval of a resolution electing the standard allowance for lost revenues under the American Rescue Plan. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The town of Blythewood received just over $2 million as its allocation of ARP funds. Town may elect to receive this allocation as a standard allowance to spend on government services throughout the period of performance. The town may elect to use the standard allowance instead of calculating lost revenue. By approving this resolution, the town will be able to spend the ARP funds on general government services and not be restricted to the other uses listed in the ARP fund interim rule that was issued in 2021. So this is a model resolution that the municipal association sent out as a recommendation for all cities and towns to use if they elected to use the standard allowance, which, and we've discussed during our budget workshop, is the best use of the funds for the town of Blythewood.
Comments, council members?
Mr. Williamson, it says through the period of performance. What, can you clarify that for the record?
So the period of performance is till the end of 2024, all the funds need to be allocated, and then whatever the projects are, be completed by end of 2026.
So in other words, basically one fiscal year for us, or
That's
maybe
right.
1.5 to at the most,
Right, I mean, that,
for our services.
right, because that's what my intent is to, and we can always adjust that aspect of it, even within this, I mean, the standard allowance, or how we want to spend it, but the simplest way from those of us doing the reporting would be to spend it all as general government services for like fiscal year 2023, our expenses, and try and meet that requirement and get the reporting done as quickly as possible.
I guess my point is that we have adequate amount of time.
Correct.
You know, adequate
That's right.
expenses to allocate these funds.
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you.
Further comments?
Does it require action? Is this an action item?
Yes. I mean,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. And properly motion is seconded to approve resolution 2022.001. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if I may ask Mr. Williamson a question. Approving this, our one transfer to the general fund would satisfy our requirement, correct?
That's correct.
No further questions.
Okay. Any further comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Part 6 tonight, open citizen comments. Anyone wishing to speak? Thank you all for coming. Okay, hearing none. Part 7, executive session per South Carolina Section 30-4-70A, receipt of legal advice subject to attorney-client privilege regarding claims and potential claims by and against the town. We have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved. Second.
There are probably motion seconded to go into executive session. Any discussion?
With 5-minute recess.
With a 5-minute recess.
You already had his.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
I left the building.
Aye.
I gotta go to the boys' room.
All opposed?
Yes, aye.
The ayes have it. Brief recess. All right, we reconvene back into open session tonight. Move to Part 9, items requiring a vote following an executive session. Do we hear any? Hearing none, we move to adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? It's been probably motion and seconded to adjourn tonight's meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thank you.